Hi guys, today I'll be reviewing the Too Faced A La Mode Eyes palette. And this is something I recently did a tutorial on my main channel. I did a look that incorporated some of the corally and coppery shades in this look, also some of that deep blue. I really enjoyed that look, so I hope you'll check that video out for some more information, because the demo in this video will include some of the shades that you didn't see used in the first tutorial. It seems to be made out of metal as opposed to cardboard. I like that for durability's sake. I also think it just comes off a little bit cleaner. Something I love about this palette is that there is a mirror right here. I think it's so handy to be using your eyeshadow palettes and then just be able to look right down into a mirror. But what also comes slipped in there, and this can stay in here if you want it to. I'll show you how it does that, but there's your little guide. Here it has day, classic, and fashion, and then the steps and color placement for all those different looks on the back. My first reaction when I look at the shade selection of this palette is, wow, there's some great bold colors in here. But yet, in my mind, all of these colors seem quite wearable. If I could have changed something about this, I probably would have just gone with maybe two lighter shades and then maybe one that's slightly deeper and matte. I'm not saying like deep and dark, but you know, like a mid-tone kind of blending shade in place of one of these would have been nice, because that's another thing that this palette is lacking, is any sort of matte shade. And I know that's going to turn some people off like that, but I've used this palette and this palette alone enough and enjoyed the looks to the extent that I can see that I don't absolutely have to have matte shades to make my looks come off nicely with this palette, if you know what I mean. The one shade that might come across a little bit weak is the Saint-Tropez shade, which is this lightest color right up here. I don't think it performs weak on the eyes or anything, but it just swatches a little more sheer. That's a light shade with a little bit of sparkle in it, whereas the other two light shades have a little bit more of a pearly finish. You've got a really pretty copper shade in here, a nice peach as well. Of course, that vivid shade called Monaco, which I'm using in a very light way in this look, but it can really be packed on for some intensity. De la Mer, I think, is a beautiful, rich navy blue. I love that there's a rich, deep color included in this palette, which shows that you can take it to a very dark, smoky place if you want to. A couple of great neutrals in here that can give you very easy one shadow looks would be the Côte d'Azur color right here, which is a nice taupe, and then Soleil, which at a glance you might think, okay, that's a shimmery brown. No, this is probably one of my favorite shades in the palette. It has the most gorgeous, like, mauvish undertone to it. It's so pretty. To get this look, I first primed my lids, and then I did use some of the La Crosette shade just right around my inner corner. That really light pearly shade, I think, gives the eye a lot of pop, and I applied that up onto the inner part of my lid as well. Then I used Soleil all over the rest of the lid, and I was using kind of a larger brush. It's very easy to wedge that color up into the crease also. And then I used a fluffier brush, again with Soleil, just to bring that up into the crease even more. Then I brought in Monaco. I used a light wispy brush just to border that Soleil color. Then I blended over the edges of that with a bare brush, and I used Riviera as my highlight. Then I did a little bit of black liquid liner with a hint of a wing. I used De la Mer, the rich navy blue, to connect that at the outer edge and bring that inward just a little bit. And then I used Soleil under the rest of my eye. And I just love the way these colors come together. There are some really surprising color combinations that you can use with this palette. I mean, I think you'll find that it pushes you in some different directions that you might not have thought of before. Like, I loved in my initial tutorial that I did using, you know, the copper and the peach, and then the navy blue alongside it. Just really complemented those colors nicely. I love the color selection, even compared to the Too Faced Summer Eye palette, which I believe has been renamed for this season, but I really enjoyed that when it came out. But I think the richness of colors in this palette I like even more. If you're saying, you know what, I can't go with any more palettes, I'm on palette overload right now, I understand. You might find some similar shades in your collection, and this, looking at this, just might inspire you on different ways to use them. Definitely something I'll be using quite a bit as the summer and spring roll along. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!